Hi everyone. My name is Ziang from University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So as you may hear from today's keynote, I'm here to present a novel use of conversational agent that aim to help team effort. My collaborators are Dr. Zhou from Zhou and Professor Fu from University of Illinois. So as the old saying goes, sticks in bundle are unbreakable. Teamwork, one's ability to collaborate with others and effectively work in a team, was identified as one of the most important and desirable skills by many organizations and companies. Therefore, in educational environment, it is crucial to engage students in team projects for them to practice and thereby improve their teamwork skills. In other words, we should equip students with adequate teamwork skills and experience before they get into real workplaces. Bad team experience may prevent students from future work, but forming effective team is not easy. To form effective teams, instructors need to know students well before forming teams, which makes it especially hard for the tight time frame in the educational environment. That is a semester usually with only 16 weeks and a quarter with only like 10 weeks. Also, in education environments, students may come from diverse backgrounds. Therefore, no one team formation formula can fit for all. Also, instructors are not organizational psychologists, although they know their classes the best. Without knowing the right formula, it's very hard for them to, without formal guidance, it's very hard for them to actually come up with a formula for forming good teams. So, trying to. So meanwhile, understanding team composition is hard for researchers as well. First of all, team goal varies under different contexts. Best information formula in one situation may not generalize to others. Second, sorry. Yeah. So second, from team personality composition to individual team members' characteristics, there is so many factors that affect team dynamics. Therefore, an effective tool is required to aid team effort. So in this paper, we introduce Indigo, individual differences for group optimization. This is a novel use of conversational agent that aim to actively engage with students, gather information such as students' team preference and their team expectation. Infer key factors such as student personality traits that may affect team dynamics. Also, Indigo is intended to design as a long-term team companion that follows students throughout the semester. So I will first introduce the system behind Indigo. So Indigo is a conversational agent that developed upon Zhu's chatbot platform. There are three regions of using such platform. First of all, chatbots can be easily configured through GUI, which lowers the barrier for instructors to customize Indigo and for researchers to adapt Indigo in the future using different scenarios and replicate our study result. Second, the chatbot should be able to function robustly and support long conversations. Since understanding students deeply, a normal human interviewer may take more than 30 minutes. So we want our conversational system have the same ability to conduct long conversations. So third, Zhu's chatbot can automatically infer students' personality traits during the interaction without directly asking any personality-related questions, which avoids social desirability issues in the paper-based traditional personality test. So to evaluate the utility of Indigo, we asked three research questions. First, how will students interact with Indigo? What's their perception or impression of Indigo? Second, how effective can Indigo get information from students? Third, how well can infer personality provide insight into team dynamics and team performance? So to answer all research questions, we did a field deployment of Indigo in a classroom. It is an undergrad level user interface class where a semester-long group project is emphasized. So the goal for the group project is to create an innovative interface that aims to solve real-world problems. Students will start from brainstorming and end with a high-fidelity prototype. The group project constitutes 40% of the student final grade. There were 184 students in 40 groups consent to join a study, and Indigo interact with this student twice, once at the beginning of the semester and one at the end of the semester. While the course is offered in the computer science department, there are students from non-engineering majors. For example, they came from industrial design, information science, business, and psychology. To investigate whether Indigo could offer useful insights for team function, we wanted to learn the existing team formation tools. In our study, half of the group were formed randomly, and half of the group were formed by a widely used team aiding to Academy. So in here, I'm going to have a brief introduction of Indigo's interview. So the Indigo's project interview has 5 stages. The first stage is a warm-up where the student and Indigo introduce themselves to each other. And the Indigo will explain briefly the agenda of the interview. Second, the student will ask to fill up a impression management skill. Since the IM skill is found highly related in the self-control and social adaptations in workplace, we hypothesize that it might affect the team dynamic. Third, student will ask about their team preference and the past team experience. Then the next section is about the individual's characteristics, such as their strengths and weaknesses. Lastly, student will ask some questions about their impression of the Indigo. So the last section is to solicit student feedback about the Indigo. The student will ask to express their impression of Indigo and rate Indigo on a number of scales, such as its helpfulness and likability. So here, I want to highlight some results from our study. So first, we show student interaction with Indigo. On average, students spent 60 minutes and typed 620 words in the pre-project interview, and 20 minutes and 289 words in the post-project interview. This measurement demonstrates that the students were willing to spend a considerable amount of time with Indigo and offer information during their interaction with Indigo. And here we show the student perception of Indigo. Students were asked to rate Indigos on 4 5-point Likert scale, including the likable, helpful, enjoyable, and trust. And also asked to describe Indigo in 3 keywords. As we can see here, the students perceived Indigo as a likable, helpful, trustworthy, but not very enjoyable, which just aligns with the robotic impression. We can see it over there. So one student also provided feedback saying that Indigo is not a huge conversationalist, not too much enthusiasm or talking out of the script. So this, we believe, may reduce the enjoyment in the conversation, since the Indigo always follow the script. So additionally, the student perceived Indigo as more as a counselor than a friend. So further, we show the student who feel Indigo has a similar personality to their own tends to enjoy the conversation and trust Indigo more. The correlation here is statistically significant. So moving to the next research question. Yeah. So we compare some questions that are asked by both Academy and Indigo. When analysis the open-ended results that we gather from Indigo, we perform LDA and central analysis to extract the key topics student mentioned, and we found that students provided richer information that won't be able to caught by choice-based questions, which were often used in existing teaming tools at Academy. Second, from the conversation, students explained more about their input. Next, I'm gonna introduce an example. So this question is asked by both Academy survey and a choice-based question from leader to follower, and an open-ended question in Indigo's conversation. As we can see, student responses in Indigo not only cover the leader and follower, but also one point that mentioned that they want to take turns during the semester, which won't be able to capture by predefined choice-based survey. So one might argue that the open-ended question could be inserted into a regular survey to collect needed information. However, extensive survey statistics shows that people are only willing to spend only a few seconds per question if the surveys last more than 5 minutes. So our use of Indigo indicate that the students are willing to spend time interacting with the agent and offer useful information, which suggests an effective way to collect information from students. So next, we're going to show the presented insight from the Indigo on the team result. We first did an effect analysis of 35 personality facets, and the result gave us 7 personality makeup that best fits student profile, including the emotional, collaborative, social, open-minded, responsible, sensitive, and self-disciplined. So then we fit several regression models on the team outcome. We find the groups who have a higher variance on their emotional makeups tends to perform better at the end. One potential explanation here is that students who are low on the emotional factor are often more anxious about the deadlines, which help their team to always be on time. In the meanwhile, the students who are in the group have a higher, low lower anxious about the deadlines. They may always keep the group in a good shape. Such composition eventually will benefit the team. So another model that shows that the group who are less sensitive in general has a lower conflict. According to the previous research, students who are less sensitive to emotions may be able to better cope with interpersonal tensions, which reduce the team conflict in the process. So in here, the study finding demonstrated Indigo's ability to proactively engage with students, gather useful information, and provide insights on the team outcomes through the lens of the team personality composition. Such findings can benefit the design of the intelligent system teaming tools in general. First, from the interaction between Indigo and student in the class, we learned that the student who trusts the Indigo and perceive Indigo as a counselor, in the future design of such an intelligent agent for teaming, we could leverage such perception and frame the agent as a team coach. So similar to the counselor in the real life, who could follow student with their client, follow up with their clients, team coach can follow up with the individual team and team members throughout their teaming efforts and provide help to reduce the potential team conflicts. So second, results show that the student prefer Indigo more if they perceive Indigo having a personality similar to theirs, which its personality influences the capability. The intelligence such as Indigo can learn a user's personality on the fly and then adapt its behavior to that of the similar personality. For example, they can mirroring the users, the wording of the users are using. So third, since our finding reveals the team personality composition predict team outcomes, such as team performance and the team dynamic, we can use such findings to augment Indigo. In particular, we can extend Indigo to automatically recommend team formation based on the infer personality trait of the potential team members. For example, it can select each team by maximizing the variance of the emotional characteristics of the team members. Also, we want to acknowledge some limitation of a study. First, the measure of the team performance was limited to only one project score. From the example, we know that the project score does not fully reflect the teamwork skills and what students have learned in the process. Second, our field development Indigo was situated in a CS class in a large US public university, which may not be representative of student teaming situations in other cultures. Third, the team perception was collected once at the end of the semester. We want to collect team perceptions throughout the teaming efforts, then detect the changes over time that best access the team dynamics. So as a conclusion, to summarize our result, we examined a novel use of a conversational agent that aimed team efforts. Indigo can proactively engage with students and collect valuable information. And Indigo also can provide insight on team outcomes throughout the lens of the team personality composition. So at the end, we want to thank all for your listening. And we would like to thank all reviewers for their valuable feedback and the Air Force Office of Scientific Research for its support.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
So it's great that personality is a factor in the overall performance of the team, but there are lots of other factors such as skill, for example, and I'm sure things vary by what the task is. So how important is personality? I mean, compared to other factors, did you test that? And is there even one thing which, like, okay, teaming is forming a team. Do you need the same mix of personalities for every task, or does it vary by task, for example?
So I think that's a great question, since there's a lot of factors that affect the team performance and team dynamics. So in our study, we do control that how the team are formed. So in the academy, the instructor forms a team based on the team members, their skills, and their preference in the leadership, and also their thinking styles. And we didn't find any significant effect from how the team were formed, but we do see that the personality play a role here. But as we said, that some research in personality also demonstrate that the teamwork was in because of the variance of the team goal. the team personality composition may vary. So that's why we want to apply the Indigo in different scenarios to see what if there is a personality composition that best fits for certain scenario, or if there is a general personality composition that works for all the teams. So in the future study, we want to just deploy the Indigo and also let the other researchers in different classes and instructors use the Indigo and to give us more insight on that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Well, I have one. You know, because, and that's maybe a question more for Michelle, and I don't see Wat-Tat, right? But, you know, you, as I understand it, you really use this for students to team up,
yeah.
Right? And, you know, I mean, the results look good, but would you do it again? You know, in the next class, you know, next year, do it again? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
so
it's good to hear.
Yeah, so this work that we did in, I think is 1 year ago, and this class still going on, and we still use this conversational agent to kind of interview students, get the information, and we hope to get more data to have a more robust model that can do the team recommendation.
Excellent. Any more questions?
Okay. Yeah. A follow-up on my previous question. Would this style work if you were trying to form basketball teams?
I think that maybe, since we haven't tried that scenario, and we know that personality can really predict some outcomes, and we can see like the personality, for example, if the team player are already kind of agreeable to each other, the team may be more united, and they may perform better. But it's a very interesting scenario to test or like the agent. Yeah.
Actually, just want to add to that. I think in the paper with the acknowledge one of the limitations is, I think you asked a very good question earlier. You were asking about the task related, right? So the task we tested in this particular scenario is kind of a short-term task, right? Because it's only one semester. So we think that a reason why the emotional composition showed up very strongly, you can see the beta is very big from psychology point of view, right? It's 0.43 or something. So then we said it may not work as well for this particular composition for the long-term team engagement, like the basketball. Let's say basketball team, they have to last for several years, right? So that's why it's in a scenario we're very kind of interested to try it out. How the personality composition, as Ziang mentioned, maybe the compositions will be different for different teaming situations. So actually they tested, I think is Wat-Tat here? He just left, I think. So the Academy, they tested about 29 surveys. So there were 29 other attributes from students they collected from Academy tool. And none of them is predictable. That's how amazing it is. None of them is predictable. Another thing is including the students' previous academic performance, right? So that wasn't even predictable either in terms of the team outcome and the team dynamics. That's why it made us very excited about this.
Thank you. Let's thank the speaker.